Welcome, dear friend, to godly sleep, a place where your heart can finally rest. You don't have to carry the weight of the day any longer. Whatever has been pressing on your mind, the stress, the noise, the worries that seem to follow you even into the night, you can let them go. Now, here, in this quiet space, you are safe. You are seen. You are loved. Close your eyes and take a slow breath in. Feel it. Fill your lungs. Then gently release it. As the world grows still, let God's peace begin to wrap around you like a warm blanket. Every word you hear tonight comes from Scripture, a message of hope, comfort, and divine calm that your soul has been longing for. When you can't sleep, when the world feels heavy, when you just need a moment to breathe again, come back here. You are not alone. Thousands of hearts are listening with you tonight, resting under the same promise of peace that God gives freely to all who seek Him. Here at Godly Sleep, we believe that rest is more than just closing your eyes. It's allowing your spirit to be renewed in the presence of the one who loves you most. So find a soft place to rest. Let go of your thoughts and allow the Word of God to lead you gently into peace. If this space brings you comfort, consider subscribing and joining our growing community of believers who seek nightly peace through Scripture and reflection. Together, we're building not just a channel but a family of faith, rest, and hope. Tonight, may you drift into sleep, knowing that you are deeply loved, perfectly held, and never alone. I invite you in. I ask you to come in slow. I ask you to leave the day at the doorway. I speak in a low tone. I am here to read and to rest with you. I set a gentle frame for the hour. The room feels quiet. The light feels gentle. A lamp glows. Breath moves in and out. I notice that sound and then make it softer. I let the hush settle. Settle with me now. Find a place that holds you. Lie down or sit with a soft back. Allow hands to rest. Uncross shoulders. Unclench the jaw. I guide a slow breath. In through the nose. Hold. Out through the mouth. Repeat this for 3 breaths. Each time the body yields a little, muscles ease. A tiny tension slips away. The heartbeat eases. The mind loosens its grip on the day's list. I picture harbor dusk. Boats come home. Masts tuck in. The water breathes in gentle waves. The sky turns a deep, calm blue. The harbor holds the boats without fuss. I invite you to imagine the same harbor inside you. Each thought is a boat. Each tension, a small vessel. They float. They do not need to be fixed. They rest. The harbor keeps them safe. I read to you now. I do not speak to debate. I do not press ideas. I read to bring calm. The words I share touch the heart like warm hands. They remind the restless that rest is possible. They remind the anxious that a steady love watches over the night. Here is the first passage, shaped for listening. A shepherd walks through dim fields. He knows each sheep. He leads with care. When a path bends, he goes first. When a night wind rises, he draws the flock close. The sheep do not fear because they are known. The shepherd keeps light on them. I hold that picture for you. Let the notion of being known settle on your chest. Let it ease the need to bear everything alone. Next, I speak of an invitation that always opens at the edge of weariness. Come to the one who gives rest. It says, bring the heavy things, set them down, find a calm place in the company of love. Do not carry the burdens into the dark. Lay them gently. Feel the shoulders unclench. You do not need to earn this rest. It is offered. Receive it the way you receive a cool breeze after a long walk. I trace a promise that feels like a pillow. It says peace that does not imitate the world. It says a quiet heart to measure by noise alone. Imagine a room that holds your doubts without judging them. The lights are dim. A small lamp burns. A presence sits without hurry. A peace that calms the chest comes when trust grows small and tender. Allow that to grow in you. Let it rest where worry used to sit. Now a line that speaks of fear and of courage. Fear visits at night. It asks many questions. Yet a presence surrounds us stronger than the smallest fear. There is an embrace that holds every worry, every question, every ache. It does not erase scars. It meets them with kindness. Picture a hand on your shoulder. It is steady. It does not move away. The hand's steadiness says you are not alone in the dark. I speak also of care that searches for good. It promises to keep every thought and fear and hope in its gentle watch. Nothing slips past attention. Even what feels lost finds a place. Even what feels small matters. That promise is not a loud proclamation. It is a quiet, persistent care. It is like a lamp that stays lit through the night. It is a compass that does not break. Let soft images come. Rain falls on a tin roof. Each drop makes the sound of a small drum. The rhythm is slow. It matches the breath. The world outside continues. Inside, the heart learns to listen to a steadier rhythm. The rains wash some dust from the leaves, and also wash some fatigue from the skin. I imagine the rain as mercy. It cleanses in gentle strokes. You do not have to stand beneath a storm to be refreshed. A small, steady rain is enough. I guide you now to a simple practice. Name one burden quietly. Make it a single, short phrase. It can be a worry, a tiredness, a grief. Say it in your mind. Then imagine placing it in a small boat. Watch the boat float toward the inner harbor. It journeys away. It reaches the center and rests there. It is not gone forever, but it no longer pulls at your hands. For tonight, let that be enough. I remind you of a steady truth. Love that holds us is larger than the smallness of any night. It is not a loud force that demands proof. It is a kind manner that shows up in small ways, a morning light through curtains, a word that arrives at the right time, a hand on a shoulder. These are gifts. They are not owed. They come from a source that leans close to the fragile. Now I offer a gentle meditation. Breathe in a calm word. Breathe out what resists. Inhale with the thought of being carried. Exhale with the thought of releasing a task. Let the inhalation be a quiet filling of warmth. Let the exhalation be the loosening of the jaw. Repeat 5 times. With each cycle, notice how the chest warms a little. The muscles soften. Thoughts float without collision. I narrate a softer scene. Night travelers arrive at a safe inn. They are welcomed without question. The innkeeper sees their fatigue and brings a small lamp. The travelers do not have to explain everything. They sit. They drink something warm. They wipe their hands. The innkeeper is patient. No list is demanded. That hospitality is like the welcome you receive tonight. No accounting, only rest. I then share a short thought on mercy. Mercy does not measure the size of the wrong. Mercy notices a heart and meets it. Mercy does not act out of calculation. It moves, because love cannot help but move. Imagine mercy as a gentle tide. It reaches the shore again and again. It does not hold records of the footprints washed away. It simply comes and remembers you. Let us keep our listening light and simple. I do not enumerate rules. I do not argi doctrini. I describe comfort. I shape an image. I repeat only what soothes. The reading intends to produce a quiet in the nerves. It tends the place where hope can rest. Before I close this time, I read a short line about courage for tomorrow. Courage is not loud. It may be a small decision to rise. It may be an act of continuing. It may be a single breath taken when the morning asks for one more step. The presence that watches over you strengthens with a gentle hand. It whispers calm certainty into the heart, not to frighten courage out of you, but to steady it. Hold that thought as you move toward sleep. Let it sit like a coin in the palm small. Heavy, reliable. I bring this period to a gentle ending. I invite a final breath that is long and slow. Breathe in deep. Hold. Let the air move around tired places. Breathe out slowly. Feel the body fold a little more into rest. I offer a soft benediction. Simple and warm. May you find a harbor for the night. May the love that watches keep a lamp lit beside you. May mercy surround each small fear. Sleep comes as a gift. Receive it without hurry. When you wake, the same hands meet you. The same steady love greets the new day. For now, let the night do its quiet work. Let the body heal. Let the mind repair like a workbench at dusk. Let the heart breathe. I will come back in the next part. We will read a short piece and follow it with a few moments of reflective silence. We will let the words fall like soft rain. For tonight, the reading closes here with a slow pause. Rest. I remain steady in the hush. When you are ready, let your eyes fall closed. Let the harbor keep your little boats. The night watches gently. The love that keeps you does not stop. Good night for now. Welcome. This is a safe haven. I speak in the same low tone. The room still feels gentle. The lamp keeps a small, steady pool of light. Breath moves easily. The body relaxes a little more with each exhale. Here, nothing must be proven. Nothing must be fixed before rest can come. Settle again where you are. Make one more adjustment. Place a hand over the chest, if that feels right. Soften the shoulders. Let the jaw unclench. Breathe in slowly. Hold. Breathe out longer. Keep the rhythm slow and simple. Allow the pulse to find a quieter pace. Tonight, I welcome honesty. Speak no words aloud if you do not wish to. Think a single, honest truth about this day. Perhaps the truth is tiredness. Perhaps it is worry. Perhaps it is gratitude that sneaks in unexpectedly. Whatever the truth, name it cleanly in the mind. Let the naming be brief. Let it be free of blame. Truth offered like that opens a small door. Through that door, rest can climb in. Vulnerability is close to courage. It is not weakness. It is the brave act of laying the heart down without needing to disguise the edges. Picture a cloak laid on a chair. It is heavy from the day's weather. Fold it gently and place it by the door. That action does not mean the weather is gone. It simply means the cloak does not need to be worn now. The body breathes easier when weight is set aside. I read to you from the Bible before sleep. I do this slowly. I do this not to instruct, but to soothe. For tonight, hear a paraphrase that sits like a slow stream. The words speak of an invitation to come with burdens and receive rest. The promise does not insist on perfection. It offers a pause for the tired. It promises a gentle steadiness rather than a loud fix. Let this thought sink in. Let it soften the shoulders where the day has held on too tightly. Now, imagine a small room that senses nothing but need. It keeps no ledger. It asks no list of achievements. In one corner, a soft chair waits. In another, a narrow window shows a calm sky. A lamp is on. A cup of warm tea rests on a low table. The air smells faintly of linen and something floral. You enter without explanation. The room knows each step. It meets the story without correction. The welcome is quiet and patient. If any fear rises, welcome it with the same softness. Fear becomes less sharp when noticed and named. Do not try to argue it away. Say, in the mind, a single line, "This is true for now." Then breathe and imagine the fear sitting down in that chair. Watch it take a small sip of tea. It will not disappear instantly. It will settle. That settling is a form of rest. I encourage complete honesty with the one who keeps watch. Speak of anger if it is present. Speak of disappointment and shame in the same simple voice. These truths are not surprising there. The presence that listens does not recoil. It gathers each raw thing and places it carefully. Like a gardener tending tender shoots. The act of being known eases the body. It lets muscles loosen around the ribs. It invites sleep to come without pushing. Vulnerability also looks like asking for help. If asking feels strange, imagine handing a note over a fence. The note says a single sentence. The fence does not judge the handwriting. The helper reads and leans over to offer a small, steady hand. Asking in quiet ways opens a channel for mercy. Mercy is small gestures repeated. It arrives like a steady, mildtide, not a dramatic wave. Tonight, try one small honesty practice. Bring to mind a single thing you have tried to carry alone. Keep it short. Place it on the lap in the imagining. Then, as if speaking into a soft night, set it down on the table near the lamp. Picture the lamp's light taking that thing into its glow. The weight loosens. The hands relax. This is enough for now. Repeat this if more burdens come. One by one, the load becomes manageable. I read another short passage from the Bible. Now, slowly and with space between phrases, the image is of a guide who knows the way through dark paths. The guide walks ahead and watches the steps. The voice of the guide promises rest to those who follow with honest hearts. There is no demand for flawless courage. There is an offered arm and a steady step. Let the rhythm of that promise match the breath. Inhale with the thought of being led. Exhale with the thought of releasing a task. Let gentle pictures continue. A small garden at night shows soft shapes. Leaves rustle in a tone that matches the breath. A night bloom opens slowly. Not for spectacle, but because its timing is gentle. Dew settles like a blessing. The scene reminds that growth happens in quiet places. Renewal does not shout. It comes in patient. Incremental turns. Allow the mind to rest with this image. It needs no commentary. It asks no agenda. The reading style here is slow and calm. I pause often. I let silence sit like a soft cushion between sentences. Those pauses are part of the gift. Let the silence hold you. Let it be a place where the heart arranges its small truths. In that silence, mercy can be felt more clearly. In that silence, a safe haven exists. We are creating a community of rest. If this time brings calm, consider staying in touch gently. If the voice soothes, subscribe to return for more evenings like this. If a line resonates, leave a simple note. Share this time with someone who may also need a small harbor. These acts do not demand much. They are tiny ways to extend the same kindness you receive here. They help keep this quiet place available for others. When you leave a comment, speak simply about what helped. No need for long reports. A single word, a small sentence, a heart-shaped note, these all say you were present. Sharing a link with a friend is an act of mercy in itself. It invites another into rest. Subscribing is like lighting a lamp each evening. It keeps the room ready. Do these things only if they feel right. There is no pressure, only an open door. Now a short practice for honesty and vulnerability. Close the eyes, if that is comfortable. Breathe in and think the phrase, I am honest here. Breathe out and release a single thing you do not need tonight. Repeat this 5 times. Ich zykle. Notice the chest ease. Notice the shoulders soften. Let any urge to prove anything fade. Sleep is not earned by busyness. It is received by a quiet heart. I offer a brief encouragement for the morning. Vulnerability in the night. Plant seeds for courage in the day. When the dawn asks you for one small step, remember the hand that steadied you in the dark. Remember that rest was not a reward for success, but a shelter for the weary. Carry that memory like a soft cloth in a pocket. It will come in handy when the day feels loud. Before closing, I read one last short passage from the Bible in paraphrase. It speaks of a presence that keeps watch while rest happens. It does not hustle or pace. It stays soft and faithful, like a lamp left burning near a bedside. The presence knows every name and remembers every small pain. It does not trade mercy for proof. It meets the vulnerable with quiet strength. Let that thought nestle beneath the ribs. Take a long, slow breath now. Hold it for a moment. Let the exhale stretch. Imagine a hand smoothing a blanket over the shoulders. The cover is warm. It does not smother. It comforts. The breath finds a steady cadence. Let the body follow. If you wish, linger in the quiet a while longer. I will remain in the hush. If sleep comes, allow the eyes to close. If rest unfolds slowly, return to the breathing practice. The safe haven is not hurried. It waits. An intentional pause. Now, rest settles like dust on an old table. The room breathes with you. Mercy moves quietly through the corners. The welcome remains. Remember that honesty and vulnerability are doors, not weaknesses. They open paths to softer nights. When you wake, the same hand will greet you. The same lamp will catch the early light. The same voice will be near, ready to read again when evening returns. For now, receive the night. Let the world slow around you. If this time gives you calm, consider returning. Subscribe quietly. Leave a small note if you are moved. Share the warmth with someone who needs a harbor. These acts keep the space alive for others who seek rest. Good night for now. Sleep gently. I will read again when you return. I guide you gently into a quiet chamber. The air here is soft. Light pools low and warm. A slow lamp keeps watch. Music is not needed. Silence holds like a knitted blanket. This place breathes love and grace. It feels like a shelter of kindness. The weight of the day is allowed to rest. I notice first how space itself seems patient. Walls do not demand answers. The floor welcomes tired feet. A small chair waits, cushioned with plain fabric. A blanket folded in a corner promises warmth. The scent is faint linen and something green. That smell settles the shoulders. The body learns a new posture, ease. God's presence is near. Nod alod arrival. Not a parade. A steady nearness that feels like a steady hand at the small of the back. It holds the shape of every worn thought without asking for explanation. The presence here is quiet grace. It does not tally mistakes. It records no score. It simply rests beside the restless and keeps a light on the bedside table. This is a sanctuary from what must be done. Tasks and lists live at the doorway. They do not need to follow into this chamber. The chest can loosen. The mind can release its tight hold on the to-do list. Here, the body is allowed to be small and soft. Here, the day's sharp edges dull. I ask for 2 slow breaths together. In the first, take in the sense of being met. In the second, let go of one heavy thing. Choose something small. Not everything at once. A single weight slides off the shoulders and rests on the chair beside you. No rush, no fixing, just a soft placement. The scene is simple. It is enough. Now I read a short line from a psalm, shaped for listening. I speak slowly and with space. I say the thought in the first person so it can sit near the heart. I will lie down and sleep in peace. There is a calm that comes because I trust a watchful care. That care makes the sleeping place safe. Safety here is not a promise that trouble will vanish. It is the promise that someone keeps vigil. After the line, let the meaning unfold like a slow flame. Sleep comes not because the world pauses, but because a faithful presence steadies it. Imagine a small lamp left on beside a bed. The lamp neither chases away every shadow, nor does it shout at the dark. It simply stands and gives light enough to know the room. That light is like the care that steadies the night. It knows where each foot falls. It knows how to let the weary rest. There is mercy in this quiet. Mercy resembles a gentle tide that returns to the shore. Again and again. Without asking for proof of worth, it washes the little things' private regrets, half-formed anxieties, the residue of a hard conversation, so they do not sting as sharply when morning comes. Mercy is habitual. It is not interested in punishment. It leans in to soothe and to make small repairs. Consider one small worry now. Picture it as a pebble in the palm. It has a texture. It is heavy in a precise way. Put it on a shelf in the picture of the room. The shelf is low, no strain needed. The pebble does not need to be examined. It simply rests. This simple act, in imagination, loosens the grip on the ribs. The chest expands a fraction. The breath lengthens by a hair. Hold one more image. A watchman sits near the window. He does not sleep, but his presence makes the house safe. He hums a quiet tune. The hum is not distracting. It is a promise. The tune says that vigilance is present without alarm. Knowing someone watches in calm steadies the heart. It allows the small surrender that sleep asks for. I repeat the breathing practice. Slowly, inhale the word peace. Let it fill the lungs like soft cloth. Hold one gentle count. Exhale the word burden. Let it fall away like a leaf. Repeat this 5 times. Each cycle softens a muscle. Each cycle asks no proof. Each cycle keeps the rhythm low. The psalm's sense of dwelling in safety carries tenderness. It does not remove care. It reorients it. To dwell safely means to be contained within a care that is stronger than fear. It is like a room with firm walls and a soft interior. There is firmness for the storms and softness for the bones. The evening offers both. Trust is not bluster. It is a quiet habit of the heart. Trust builds slowly, like an old wooden chair becoming comfortable with use. It does not require that every doubt vanish. Instead, it makes room for doubt to sit beside faith. Both can be present at once. The presence that watches does not demand that one present only certainty. It welcomes the messy pieces and arranges them calmly. If shame or regret rises, do not push it into hiding. Name it briefly in the mind. Give it a small place on the windowsill. Let it look out at a calm sky. It may feel exposed for a moment. That exposure softens the feeling's bite. The watchful presence takes note. The presence does not scold. It attends. Attendance itself is a form of healing. I keep my tone low. Phrases come slowly. Like steps on a carpet, the room answers with silence. That silence is not empty. It is full of attentive care. The space between words acts like a cushion for the weary thought. Allow the pauses to expand. Let them become a resting place for small anxieties. Picture a soft evening garden seen through a small window. Night blooms open without flourish. A moth drifts near a pale pétale. Dew forms like small beads around calm leaves. This gentle scene suggests growth that waits for time, not for spectacle. Healing and rest work the same way. They are patient. They arrive in small increments, not in one sudden rush. I offer a simple invitation hand, one small regret to the present care. Imagine setting it in the palm of a steady hand. The hand holds it without judgment. It presses nothing. It simply holds. That simple holding changes the shape of the regret. The edges soften. It becomes part of the room's collection of things that are known. Being known reduces the need to perform. This place of grace also opens to hope. Hope here is not a promise of instant fixes. It is a quiet expectancy that the morning will offer light enough for the next small step. Think of hope as a small light set behind the lamp. It is not blinding. It is a guide. It suggests where to place the foot when morning asks for a movement. Keep breathing slowly now. Breathe into the place where worry sits. Feel the air move into that space. Let the muscles around the ribs relax. With each out-breath, imagine a small curtain drawing across the day's busyness. The curtain does not hide reality. It simply offers privacy for restoration. I return once more to the thought from the psalm. The sleeping in peace is a natural response to being made safe. That safety is not earned. It is offered. Receive the offer like a warmed cup placed into cold hands. The cup warms the fingers without demand. Let that warmth move through the chest. If eyes want to close, allow them. If sleep arrives slowly, remain in this posture of calm. The lamp is steady. The watchman remains near the window. The room keeps its doors wide but gentle. No pushing. No need to hurry. Before this part ends, I set a small, deliberate benediction. May the nearness of steady care keep the night gentle. May the heart that seeks rest find it without claws. May mercy repeat itself quietly until the morning arrives. These are small wishes shaped like blankets. They do not fix everything. They give cover. A short pause now. Let the silence stretch. Let the breathing remain slow and easy. Stay as long as the body and mind need. When eyes are heavy, let them fall. When sleep comes, do not resist its gentle pull. I will come again in the next segment. We will sit a while longer with a different line. The voice will remain low. The lamp will be the same. For now, rest in the thought that you will lie down and sleep in peace. Someone keeps watch. Safety is present. The room stays prepared for the morning. Sleep is a mercy to receive. Allow it to do its quiet work. I settle back into the hush. The lamp throws a pool of warm light. The room feels the same and gentle. Breath moves slow. The pulse finds a softer pace. I speak to you in a low voice. I read to you before sleep. My words reach like a hand that smooths the brow. Tonight I bring a simple invitation. Hear it as a soft knock at the edge of weariness. The invitation says, "Come when you are tired. Bring the heavy pieces you have carried. Lay them down where they can be set aside. Do not try to make the pieces fit into the dark. Bring them into a presence that takes them kindly. The offer is not loud. It is an open. Jante le palme." This is a paraphrase of a familiar line. It calls the weary to rest. It asks the burden-bearer to share the load. It promises a different kind of teaching. Take my way. It suggests a way that does not press or strain. Learn how to walk with a lighter step. The pace is steady. The hand that guides is gentle. The yoke it offers is not an iron weight. It is a small, steady support that eases the shoulders. Consider the picture of a yoke for a moment. Two animals share a bar. They walk side by side. One does not struggle alone. The load becomes easier because it is carried together. The bar does not remove the work. It changes the sharing. The steps fall into a matching rhythm. Breathing follows. The heart eases. This image helps to understand rest, not as escape, but as a rebalancing of the burden. Trust grows the same way. It is not a single act. It is a habit of placing weight down and feeling another hand take part. Trust proves itself in small acts. A name on a prayer. A single, honest sentence placed in that open hand. A quiet confession of tiredness. Each act shows that the night does not demand solitary vigilance. The presence that listens does not sleep. Yet it does not rush. It keeps a lamp. It hums a soft tune. The tune steadies more than it alarms. Safety and peace come as parts of that presence. Safety is not the absence of trouble. It is a shelter while trouble exists. Think of a house with firm walls and a soft interior. The storm may blow. The roof may shiver. Inside, a small lamp burns. The sound of rain becomes a rhythm that matches the breath. Peace sits beside that lamp. It is a quiet companion who knows how to keep still in a long night. When I say safety, I mean the kind that keeps vigil. Imagine a quiet watchman at a window. He does not roar. He watches without anxiety. His steady eyes and small tasks make a room safe. You can let go enough to sleep because someone watches without haste. That watching is care. It is a promise that you will not be left alone in the dark. Peace arrives when trust grows tender. Trust is not a shield against fear. It is a soft hand on the shoulder when the night feels wide. It corrects the tendency to run alone. It holds without demanding an explanation. The steady presence meets shame the same way. It does not tally the mistakes. It hears the confession and closes its hand around it. Mercy follows. Mercy heals in small, quiet ways. I invite you to practice this here. Choose one small burden now. Make it brief. A single thought. A named worry. A single ache. Do not take everything. A pebble fits the palm. Place it there in the imagining. Feel the pebble's weight. Notice how the fingers clench around it. Now look across the room in your mind. See a table with a lamp. Walk the pebble to that lamp. Set it gently on the table. Step back. Feel the shoulders relax. A fraction. This is the outward sign of a deeper exchange. When you place the pebble down, imagine another hand taking hold beside it. The hand is calm. It does not snatch. It cups. It holds. That hand speaks no words. It simply keeps the pebble safe. The night becomes a place where burdens can rest without being forgotten. They are known. They are watched. They are not thrown away but held. Breathe with the thought of exchange now. Inhale slowly and think trust. Feel the air fill the chest like warm wool. Hold a soft count. Exhale long and think burden. Let the burden slip out as breath. Repeat this 5 times. Each cycle asks less of the limbs. Each cycle invites the mind to set a thing down. The practice is small. It is enough. I read the invitation again. Softly. Come when you are heavy. Learn a gentle way. The one who calls does not teach with harshness. The teacher's voice is low. It invites rest and steadiness. This learning is patient. It unfolds by degrees. It does not require that the heart arrive without cracks. Cracks are allowed. They are not proof of failure. They are simply openings through which care can enter. Picture a bed that is prepared. The sheets are cool. The blanket is neither too heavy nor too thin. A lamp burns at the side. A small book rests unopened. The room breathes in a slow manner. That bed is an image of the rest offered. It is not a reward for endurance. It is a place of refuge for those worn by living. You are welcome to lie there without proving anything. Trust reminds us that we are not alone. Imagine a father or mother who stays by a child's bed long after the lights go out. Their foot may be placed gently against the child's to remind them of presence. The small contact steadies. The child drifts without worry. Similarly, the kind of trust I speak of is a gentle reminder that someone is near. The reminder calms the racing thoughts. It tells the mind that vigil is shared. Safety comes in small, ordinary things. A lamp left on, a door left unlocked, a warm cup set within reach, a hand placed on a shoulder for a minute. These are not dramatic, but they are steady. They compound into a sense that the night is not a raw place. It is a watched place. The calm of that watchfulness becomes a cushion into which sleep may fall. Let the thought of mercy sit now. Mercy is repetition. It returns like breath. It does not weigh the past against the present. It leans close to the brittle places. Imagine mercy as rain on a tired field. It comes slow. It softens the ground. It does not force growth overnight. Rather, it makes room for the next tender thing to root. This kind of mercy comes with the invitation to rest. It meets the exhausted and gives space for repair. I ask for another small practice. Close your eyes if you like. Picture a harbor at dusk. Little boats rock. One boat carries a load. The boat slips into a wide bay. It is moored near a soft pier. People who love the boat tie its line. Those hands hold the vessel steady. They do not demand explanation. They keep it safe. Let your burden be that boat tonight. Let the harbor hold it. The harbor is like the presence that watches. It is steady, patient, and calm. The line you throw across feels the tug of a friendly hand. That tug is sure. It is not a strong pull that drags you to the shore. It is a guiding pull that helps you rest. You do not need to stay awake to watch the ropes. Someone else tends the knots. If a shadow crosses your mind, name it gently. Say a single line in your head. Let the line be short. For example, this is my fear for now. Then breathe and imagine placing the fear on the windowsill. Watch it sit. Do not insist it leave. Do not chase it into the dark. Notice it. Let the watchful presence attend to it. The act of noticing changes the fear's edge. It becomes less fierce. Rest here a while longer. Do not hurry the heart. The room keeps its lamp. The hand that steadies does not leave. Sleep is allowed to arrive in its own time. The teacher's voice remains near. It repeats the invitation without pressure. Come when you are weary. Learn a different pace. Take a softer yoke. The words fold into the silence like a warm blanket. As I finish this part of our evening, I give a small benediction. May the knowledge of being watched make the night feel less lonely. May trust arrive as a tiny habit, placing small weights down. One by one, may mercy keep returning until the edges of worry soften. May sleep come like a tide that lifts the small boat and sets it gently into calm water. Stay as long as needed in the stillness. If eyes grow heavy, allow them to close. If breath finds its slow cadence, surrender to it. When morning comes, the same steady care will meet you. For now, rest. I remain here. The lamp is low. The harbor waits. The yoke is gentle. The invitation still opens. Good night for now. I sit with the lamp low. The room keeps its hush. Breath moves slow. I tell a story now about a friend. It is a soft story. It is not loud. It holds patience like a warm cup. This friend appears in the mind on a grey evening. The figure walks in with slow steps and hands full. The load looks ordinary at first. It is a bundle of small things, a few sharp memories, an old wound, a list of grievances. The face is familiar. The shoulders slump. I watch without rushing. The lamp throws a small circle of light across the floor. The friend sits near that light. The breath is uneven. I read a short passage from the Bible before the tale begins. The passage invites the heavy to come. It promises a soft place to lay down what weighs the chest. The words are offered like a hand. They do not press a rule. They offer a rest. The friend listens while the passage unloads like rain against the window. The sound steadies the heart. No one expects perfect answers. The expectation is presence. The story begins in a small kitchen. Mornings used to be noisy there. Cups clinked. Voices rose and fell. A sudden mistake cracked the rhythm into jagged pieces. Something was said that could not be taken back. The mistake is not dramatic in the telling. It is a common, human misstep, yet the misstep cut close. It lodged like a splinter. Each attempt to ignore it makes the ache worse. The friend nurses it. The friend builds a habit of turning that ache over like a small, sharp stone. For weeks, the stone sits in a pocket. It chaffers. Sleep becomes thin. The friend keeps awake with rehearsal. After rehearsal, each night, the mind rewinds to the moment and plays it slower. The chest tenses. The lamp becomes a witness to a restless mind. Complaints are uttered inwardly. The story of the day becomes a loop. The friend rehearses ways to be right. The friend imagines repayment. The thought sits under the ribs like an ember. It warms the hands in a way that hurts. I speak of forgiveness, not as forgetfulness. Forgiveness is not a whitewash. It does not pretend there was no crack. Forgiveness is a decision to stop living awake to the injury. It is the choice to hand the stone to someone wiser than the keeping of resentment. The friend hears this as a small, daring notion. The idea seems thin at first. It is like a single thread that might unweave the knot. Yet the thinness is the shape of mercy. Mercy often begins with a fragile thread. One evening, the friend comes to me with the pocket still full. The hand opens. The stone is placed on the table between us. No long justification. No loud demand. Just the object and the steady silence around it. I read quietly a line from the Bible that speaks of bearing burdens together. I do not quote it exactly. I let the sense of it sink in. I invite the friend to consider the possibility of placing the stone into a small boat and letting it float away. We make a simple ritual. The friend writes the thing down on paper with slow strokes. The writing is single and precise. No dramatic flourish. Just the fact, said plainly. Then the paper is folded and held for a moment. The hands tremble a little with the admission. The act is small. It asks no applause. It only asks that the burden move from pocket to palm, from keeping to offering. At the bedside later, we place the paper near a lamp. The light warms the paper. I say a short prayer in my mind. A quiet handing over. I imagine the paper as a vessel. I picture the inner harbor we have spoken of. A small boat rocks in that harbor. The paper slips into the boat. A pair of hands unseen draws the rope. The boat leaves the shore. The friend watches the slow moving and breathes. The breath lengthens. The chest yields an inch. Forgiveness comes like a tide. It does not rush. It arrives in small movements. The next morning, the friend wakes with less weight. The first drink of tea has a different ease. The shoulders do not pull as tightly towards the ears. Where there was plotting of past wrongs, there enters a space to notice the ordinary colors of the day. Birds make brief noises outside. The sun through the curtains looks kinder. These tiny shifts are real. They are the proof of the slow letting go. It is not that the memory is gone. It remains a line in a book. But its pull becomes less. The friend discovers that the energy once spent on rehearsing the old wound turns into small acts of life, a returned call, a longer walk, a new patience at the sink. The mind does not need to sprint to old scenes to feel alive. The yoke becomes lighter because it is shared. The friend learns that the weight benefits from another hand. A few weeks later, the same kitchen welcomes another small mistake. The friend notices the old impulse to pocket a new stone. This time, the hand hesitates. Habit is strong. The old route is easy. Yet the friend pauses and remembers the harbour and the little boat. The pause alone begins to change things. The friend chooses to set the small thing down on the counter and to breathe. A prayer slips in, not loud. Just a little offering. The making of the choice feels like a new muscle. It grows with practice. Forgiveness also asks for boundaries in gentle forms. In the story, the friend learns to name what cannot be allowed to continue. Mercy does not mean welcoming harm. It means refusing the yen for retaliation, and also setting limits where needed. The friend learns to say no in quiet ways. The no is not a shout. It is a firm hand on a door. It protects, not punishes. The care that watches the night is not absent when boundaries exist. It keeps watch, even when gates close. I read another short line from the Bible in the midst of the story. The line I choose speaks of ease for those who carry heavy loads. It offers a shift in how to carry, not a mandate to carry less meaning. The friend hears it like a map. The map does not erase the landscape of life. It shows a safer path across hard ground. The steps feel steadier when not taken alone. On certain evenings, the friend returns to the harbour image and lingers there. Sometimes forgiveness finds company in small acts of repair. An apology is made quietly in that story. It does not demand an acceptance. The apology is a bare bowl set down. It may be received. It may not be. The friend understands that the offering relieves the hand whether the bowl is taken or left. The release is internal. It does not ask for a public transaction. Mercy works in private rooms as often as in public squares. I notice how this friend learns to sleep differently. Night becomes less of a rehearsal room. The lamp still glows. But the lamp now watches a different kind of wakefulness. There is trust that someone wiser than my friend keeps a patient watch. The easy yoke rests across the shoulders like a soft strap. It does not crush. It steadies. Sleep grows deeper. Dreams lose their edge. The change is not sudden. And it is not total. Old patterns come like shadows at twilight. The friend sometimes feels old. Anger creep up like a stubborn weed. In those moments, the practice works again. The friend names the urge, sets it down like a pebble, and imagines the harbour. The small ritual repeats its comfort. Ritual feeds the heart in ways argument never does. The repetition of handing over becomes an anchor. This story ends not with perfect reconciliation, but with a quiet treaty in the heart. The friend does not erase the past. Instead, the past stops dictating the present. The burden moves from being a constant companion to being an occasional visitor. Mercy reshapes the relationship with memory. The memory keeps its place on the shelf, cared for and watched, not hoarded in the pocket. I close the tale by inviting a small practice. If there is a pebble you carry, notice it now. Name it gently in your mind. Do not toss it into a fire. Do not hide it. Picture a small boat. Imagine the lamp at the harbour. Place the pebble on the boat. Feel the rope tug as another hand draws the line. Breathe slowly in. Think the word release. Breathe out. Let the shoulders ease a breath. I read one more quiet line from Scripture for the slow ending. It whispers of rest for the weary and gentle help for the bowed. The words do not condemn. They offer a hand. That is the heart of the story about my friend. Mercy came not as a loud verdict, but as a steady, patient présence. The friend learned to let go so that sleep could return. Before the light dims further, I give a short blessing. May the habit of placing burdens down grow soft within you. May mercy meet your small, stubborn hurts. May there be enough courage to set one thing down tonight. The harbor waits. The lamp keeps its watch. Someone tends the ropes. Rest like a boat in a quiet bay. Let the night do its work. Good night for now. I come back to the lamp. The room breathes with me. The voice stays low. The light is soft. The night listens. I sit with you and read slowly before sleep. Tonight, I choose a line that leans toward kindness and release. I shape it gently so it sits like a pillow on the heart. The line says this: be kind and tender. Forgive the small and the large offenses. Let forgiveness follow the way you have been forgiven. Say that again in the mind. Let the words land like rain on parched soil. Do not worry about names or lists. The invitation is simple. It asks for gentle acts. It asks for small courage. I tell a story about a neighbor who learned this. The neighbor is quiet. She keeps a garden and a few cups in the cupboard. Her hands tell the story of small labors. For a long season she holds a hard thing. An old insult sits like a stone behind the ribs. It colors mornings. It weighs the shoulders. The sleep that follows becomes shallow. One evening, she comes to my small porch. No words at first. She hands over a jar of preserves. The gesture is ordinary. It is also brave. I ask nothing. I read a short, soft line that nudges toward mercy. The neighbor sits. The porch light hums. She names the hurt in a single, calm sentence. She does not rehearse blame. She does not gather a crowd of witnesses. The naming is clean and brief. We imagine the hurt moved into a little boat. The boat is plain. It crosses an inner bay. The motion is slow. The neighbor breathes. The face that held tightness loosens in small increments. Later, when the day cools, she carries the idea home. She places the boat in the harbor of her mind. She keeps watch without clutching the rope. Forgiveness begins like that. It appears as a choice. It arrives as a small practice rather than a dramatic conversion. The neighbor starts with tiny acts. Some mornings she lets a memory pass, like a cloud. She refuses the old script that asks for retaliation. She chooses a different rhythm. Her steps across the kitchen floor do not sound so hurried. The hands that set the kettle down return gentler. There is a truth here that is not loud. Being forgiven by God does not require erasing what happened. It does not demand forgetting. Instead, God's forgiveness offers a new stance. It shows how to place the old hurt on a shelf and to keep living. The shelf does not throw the thing away. It simply watches it with a different kind of attention. That attention is not cold. It is steady and warm. In time, the neighbor notices a simple freedom. She wakes and reaches for the cups without the old tightness. She answers the phone with a breath. That is not a preparation for a fight. The space in her chest admits a small light. The freedom is not flashy. It is the return of small joys. The coffee tastes a fraction sweeter. The cat that pads across the floor receives less snapped perfection. The garden grows a little more calm. I read another short paraphrase of scripture, shaped for listening. It calls for kindness rooted in tenderness of heart. It says, "Forgive as you were forgiven." The line is not an order that bruises. It is an invitation that frees. Imagine a hand held out to steady a trembling shoulder. Imagine a parent who keeps watch so a child may sleep. The gesture comforts and asks nothing in return. Because forgiveness echoes God's forgiveness. It changes the inner weather. When the neighbor practices it, the old ache begins to lose its heat. The habit of rerunning the offense slows. Energy, once used for nursing resentment, finds a new room. Small acts of healing take that space. A note is written to an old friend. A call is made not to fix the past, but to offer a quiet apology. The apology is a simple bowl set down. It may or may not be accepted. The act of offering still lightens the hand. Healing comes in small increments. It looks like someone who used to lie awake, now sleeping deeper. It looks like a hand that unclenches. It looks like a day where the mind does not find the sharp corners every time a quiet moment arrives. This is the work of forgiveness, when it is done gently. It is not the erasure of memory. It is the shifting of the memory's weight. I encourage a practice that helps this movement. If there is an old hurt in the pocket, name it once. Keep the sentence short. Do not rerun the scene. Place the named thing in an imagined small box. Close the lid. Carry the box to the inner harbor you know. Put the box on a boat. Watch the boat float slowly away. Let the watching be enough for tonight. Kindness follows forgiveness. When the neighbor opens a new day, small kindnesses begin to appear. A bowl of soup is left at a door. A hand is held a little longer in a market line. A note is left on a wound that will not heal with words alone. These gentle acts do not erase the past. They simply act differently. Mercy moves in the tiny choices of daily life. There is also room for honest boundaries. Forgiveness does not demand that harm continue. The neighbor learns to say no to repeated harm. The no is quiet and firm. It protects without escalating. This boundary is part of mercy. It keeps the home safe and teaches a healthier map for future interactions. Mercy keeps the vulnerable. It does not allow cruel patterns to run unchecked. I tell another small scene. A sister calls. The voice carries a habit of sharp words. The neighbor feels the old tripwire. This time there is a pause. The pause is a new muscle. The neighbor breathes and remembers the harbor. The reply is small and composed. The call does not dissolve the history between them. It does, however, interrupt the autopilot of accusation. The conversation ends without fireworks. Both bodies hold less tension afterward. God's forgiveness inspires such acts. It does not come as a lecture. It is an internal repatterning. The example of being forgiven loosens the grip on self-righteousness. The neighbor does not feel compelled to keep score. The ledger closes in a way that does not mean denial of harm. It means refusing to be its permanent witness. The mind is free to attend to life where it grows. Forgiveness also asks for patience with oneself. The neighbor stumbles. Old reflexes return like a sudden wind. Guilt arrives with a familiar drum. The practice is not to shame, but to return to the harbor. Name the misstep. Place the small stone back into the boat. Watch it leave once more. The repetition matters. The act is not a one-time magic. It is a steady practice that reshapes habit. A calm sheen helps now. The lamp on the bedside table gives a soft circle. Outside, a moth flutters by the porch light. The neighbor sits at the window and breathes. She watches a small boat bob in memory. Each bob is less urgent. The water around it smooths. The light of mercy keeps the boat from tipping. The watchfulness is gentle. It is faithful. I read a brief paraphrase again. The call is to be kind to one another, tender of heart, and willing to forgive just as one has been forgiven. Let this thought sink. Let it be less a standard and more a map. Use it tonight as a map for one small step. It could be choosing to let a grudge sit on a shelf rather than in the pocket. It could be making a small apology to someone you love. It could be refusing to nurse a hurt as food for sleeplessness. If forgiveness feels impossible, begin with small mercy for oneself. Make a tiny ritual. Set the hand over the chest. Feel the heart beat in its steady cadence. Place a single, kind sentence into the mind. I am allowed to learn. Repeat it slowly with breath. The sentence is not a cure. It opens a door. That door is enough for tonight. Do not expect dramatic changes by morning. This is not a fireworks display. It is a tide that moves calmly. Healing will come in soft measures. A habit here, a choice there, or a team. The collection of small acts grows into a new posture. Life loosens its grip on old cruelties. The heart learns different steps. I end with a small practice you can carry into sleep. Picture a soft harbor. A single boat holds a named thing. That thing could be a regret, a sting, a list of past injuries. Watch the line drawn by a steady hand. Feel the rope ease. Breathe slowly. As you breathe in, think kind. As you breathe out, imagine the boat floating farther. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw release. A short blessing follows. May kindness settle in the daily small things. May tenderness grow where old hardness held. May the practice of forgiveness free a space inside you to breathe more fully. May God's forgiveness, gentle as a steady light, inspire soft acts and quiet healings. May the night hold your small brave attempts like a lamp holds its glow. Rest now. The harbor waits. The lamp keeps watch. Mercy repeats itself in small motions. Sleep comes as a friend. Let it find you where you are. Good night for now. The lamp is low. Breath slows. My voice moves in a careful, even pace. I come to the bedside with a small Bible and a quiet story. Tonight I offer a grace-filled reflection. It is not loud. It is gentle. It follows the same lamp and the same harbor we have pictured together. A family member comes into the story. She is not a heroine in a book. She is a neighbor of the heart. For many years she carries a hard thing. The hurt is not dramatic in the telling. It is the kind that grows like ivy around a window frame. A spoken slight. A private betrayal. The wound sits just beneath ordinary routines. It colors holiday tables. It narrows the eyes to the small lines of injury. She keeps watch over the hurt like one tends a slow-burning coal. The coal warms, but it also consumes in a quiet way. Sleep thins. Meals are eaten with one hand while the mind rewinds the old moment. The evening light finds her still awake. The lamp on her bedside table is an accomplice to the replay. The heart tenses toward rehearsed injuries, as if keeping them close will somehow give protection. I read a short line from Scripture for her. Softly. The line is shaped for listening. It says that love covers many wrongs. I do not demand she forget. I do not press absolution. The line is a small permission. It invites a new posture when all the old ways feel like the only route. She chooses a small beginning. She does not make an announcement. She does nothing dramatic. One afternoon she takes a pen and writes the hurt down in a few precise words. The paper is unadorned. The handwriting is steady. The act is a kind of naming. Naming is gentle work. It brings the private ache into a form that can be held rather than carried inside the ribs. Later, she sits with the paper and the harbor image. The boat is small. The harbor is not far away. The motion is slow. She breathes as she imagines the paper placed in the boat. The rope is relaxed. Someone else takes up the line. The boat moves with the tide. It does not vanish into a crowd. It simply changes location. That small change matters more than she expects. Forgiveness begins as a practice of release. It is not a one-time act of heroism. It is a series of tiny gestures, a decision to let a memory rest on a shelf instead of in a pocket, a refusal to check the old scene every night like a ritual. These small shifts begin to alter the interior weather. The coal cools. Sleep grows less thin. She finds that forgiveness opens space. Where guilt once lurked, the heart begins to have room for small, ordinary joys. A cup of tea warms the hands without being followed by an avalanche of recollection. A walk in the afternoon is not punctuated by sudden returns to the offense. These small freedoms arrive slowly. They arrive like a tide that approaches without fuss. At times she stumbles. Old reflexes return. A sharp thought flashes, and the ruin of the night seems poised to resume. In those moments she returns to the harbor image. The ritual is small and steady. Name the urge. Place it on the table in the mind. Let it be. Let another hand hold it for a while. Breathe. The repetition of this gentle habit matters. It trains the heart to choose a different route. Mercy that follows God's example often looks like this. It is not a striking philosophical claim. It is a daily rhythm. The divine model does not rush. It does not shame. It comes with steady attendance. The presence that forgives is like a light left on in a bedroom. The light does not chase away every shadow. It simply warms the room enough to allow sleep. She also learns to set wise boundaries. Forgiveness is not a blanket that hides what is harmful. It is a careful hand that protects what is vulnerable. A boundary is placed like a small fence around a garden. The fence keeps out what would crush tender shoots. At the same time, the fence does not turn the gardener into a jailer. Mercy and prudence walk together. In time, a small reconciliation happens. It is not the end of a long drama. It is a quiet conversation held in a waiting room. Then another, then a few good actions that speak where words do not suffice. The apology offered is a simple bowl left on a table. It is not decorated with conditions. The receiver may accept or may not. Either way, the release is real for the giver. The hand that opened loosens its grip and sleeps more easily. I read another brief passage for her, slow and spare. The shape of the sentence is like a door. It invites the heavy to lay down the weight. The wording honors the pain, and at the same time offers a place to rest. Listening to it is like entering a room where someone keeps watch steady. Patient. Unhurried. The line settles into the bones. The family member notices changes in the body. Shoulders loosen first. The jaw opens from its clenched posture. The nights deepen. Dreams lose their jagged edges. She sees that forgiveness does not always change other people. Often it changes the person who forgives. The mind that forgives begins to sleep, as if in a house that has a watchman called love. Sleep arrives without the same need to rehearse grievances. This pattern moves slowly into daily life. Small acts of kindness begin to return. She bakes a loaf for a neighbor. Without compiling a list of reasons, she answers a call with a quarter tone more patience than before. She sets a saucer of water outside on a hot day. These acts are not moral certificates. They are gentle signals that the heart has more space. They are the small echoes of being forgiven. Forgiveness also grows on ordinary soil. It often appears in routine tasks. Washing dishes becomes less like penance and more like a quiet prayer. Folding a towel is an act of care rather than a tally of injuries. The small domesticities that once carried the weight of resentment begin to breathe. The rhythm of ordinary living becomes a gate through which mercy passes. When the harsh memory crops up, there is a new practice to try. Sit. Take 3 slow breaths. Think the word grace on the inhale. Think the word release on the exhale. Let the breath move in simple beats. Each cycle loosens a muscle. Each release creates a small margin in the chest. The mind learns to let the sharpness soften. The story is not about perfection. Old wounds remain like faint lines on skin. They mark the living. They will not always disappear. Yet their command over the day can abate. The family member discovers that inner peace and rest are not the absence of all memory. They are the freedom to inhabit the present without being continuously tugged by the past. There is also tenderness towards self. Forgiveness of others often opens the door to forgiving oneself. The harsh self-accusation that feeds insomnia becomes quiet. A softer voice grows in its place. That voice does not excuse mistakes. It gives room for learning. It speaks a simpler truth. The attempt at repair is itself a mercy. I pause and breathe with you. Inhale grace. Hold a soft count. Exhale release. Repeat slowly. Let the rhythm steady the hands that have held too many things. Let the chest find a quieter pace. Now I read a short biblical line, paraphrased for our ears. It suggests that a gentle heart finds rest. It speaks not to shame, but to relief. The presence that forgives stays beside the mattress. The presence does not tally wrongs. It waits with a lamp. The phrase is little. It is enough. As the family member learns this way, sleep becomes a friend rather than a foe. The nights hum with a different light. The harbor keeps more boats afloat. The lamp keeps its steady glow. Peace grows not by force, but by practice. Small mercies compound into a new posture. If an old hurt returns tonight, bring it here. Name it once. Make the sentence short. Place it in a small imagined boat. Watch the rope gently tug as another hand takes the line. Breathe grace in. Breathe release out. Let the shoulders drop. A brief benediction closes this part. May grace find a place in the inner chamber. May forgiveness unfold as a series of small acts. May rest become a companion that returns more often. May mercy teach the heart how to keep a lamp lit beside the bed. The lamp is low, the harbor is calm. The hand that watches remains steady. Sleep finds its way like a quiet tide. Good night for now. The lamp is lower tonight. Light pools, small and warm. The room leans quiet. Breath moves slow. I keep me voice soft. I read to you before sleep. The Bible rests open like a trusted friend. I choose a short line and shape it gently for the ear. A promise comes to mind. It says that grace is more than a word. It says grace meets our weakness and makes strength there. The tone is not sharp. It is not loud. It is a hush that settles over the chest. Hear the idea as a careful hand laid on a tired shoulder. I explain this in a simple way. Weakness is not a shame to hide. It is a place where something steadier can enter. The body may be tired. The mind may tremble. The heart may feel small. In those places, grace tends to come like a soft wind. It lifts without pushing. It soothes without fuss. It does not rush to fix everything. It arrives and stays. Picture a very old tree in winter. The branches look bare and brittle. Beneath the bark, life gathers quietly. Spring warmth comes not by shouting, but by patient turning of the season. Grace works in that slow fashion. It does not take away the winter at once. It prepares the sap. It warms the root. In time, a small green bud appears. Strength grows where the branch once seemed most fragile. I read the passage for you, not as a rule, but as a comfort. The words feel soft when spoken slowly. They promise that the grace you need is present in your weak places. The strength you lack is not your own, but it comes with tenderness when you are willing to be small and honest. This does not mean trials vanish. The ache may remain. The circumstances may not change overnight. The difference is in company. When weakness rests within grace, it is held. The holding itself reshapes pain. It does not deny it. It bathes it in something calm and unhurried. That bathing loosens the muscles that have clenched around fear. Let the breath join this thought. Breathe in a single word that feels like a welcome. Breathe out a word that names fatigue. Repeat slowly. Inhale welcome. Hold a soft count. Exhale fatigue. Do this 5 times. Do not judge the breath. Do not force a change. Simply notice how the chest makes room. There is a gentleness to grace that lifts like tide under a small boat. The water moves up and carries the vessel a little higher. The boat does not know the tide's plan. It only senses the hand of lift. Rest in that hand for a moment. Let it steady an imagined keel. Allow the boat to float without effort. Weakness often arrives with a harsh inner voice. It tells stories of not doing enough. It rehearses wrongs. It counts every lack. Grace speaks in a keener language. It refuses to tally failures. It offers presence instead, where accusations sharpen. Grace lays a soft cloth, where the mind wants proof. Grace gives a small, steady gift, the permission to be enough for tonight. I tell a small, true story. Once, a weary friend sat with a hand pressed to her rib cage. Sleep had become rare. Rumination made the nights thin. She came to a chair and simply admitted she could not carry one more thing. There was no eloquence. There was a single sentence spoken to the silence. I am tired. In that admission, something subtle shifted. Grace did not erase the trouble. It walked beside her as she moved the burdens to a small basket. She let another hand hold the basket as she slept. The morning found her more steady. The practice here is not dramatic. It is tiny and repeatable. Name one small weakness tonight. Keep the phrase short. Place it on an imagined plate. Set the plate on a bedside table. Picture light falling across the plate. Imagine someone unseen taking that plate and speaking no words. The act alone is a transfer. The shoulders soften. The jaw loosens. Let this be a simple exercise in trust. Trust grows when practice repeats. Trust is not a one-time jump. It is a pattern of choosing to hand things over and to wait. Each small handing builds a new muscle. Over time, the habit of offering the burden changes the nervous system's response to stress. The heart learns a new rhythm. The night becomes less a place of rumination and more a room of hospitality. There is a tenderness in weakness itself. When a wound is honest, it invites care. A crack in pottery can become a place where gold is laid. The crack does not disappear. It is celebrated as part of the vessel's shape. Grace often moves toward those cracks. It fills them with something that both mends and honors the history of the break. The mending is not an erasure of story. It is an act of compassion. Do not hasten to performance. Rest is not a trophy to be earned. The present moment is not a test. The invitation is simpler. Bring the small, bare truth of your condition. Let it be offered without defense. In the offering, the grace you need arrives. It does not always change the external shape. It alters how the internal landscape carries the load. There may be fear that handing over weakness means surrendering responsibility. That worry is gentle and understandable. Handing over is not a refusal of action. It is a rebalancing. You still act where you can. You still take care of the things within reach. But you also allow another presence to share the load. The shared load moves more smoothly. The work becomes less crushing. Imagine a quiet room with many windows. Each window opens to a familiar view. Through one, a neighbor tends a small garden. Through another, a child sleeps. The room holds them both, without choosing. Grace is like that room. It allows many things to be present at once. It does not force a single story. It makes a space wide enough for complexity. Let a ritual help tonight. Take 3 slow breaths. On the first, imagine a pale ribbon tied gently around your chest where the tightness sits. On the second, picture that ribbon being loosened by an invisible hand. On the third, feel the slack and place a single small stone on a shelf. That stone bears a name you choose. Close your eyes and see the shelf warm with lamplight. Stay with that image a few breaths. There is an ancient humility in admitting weakness. It feels like standing wet at a shore and letting the water lap at your feet. There is no insistence on grandeur. There is surrender to the small, faithful elements of care. Grace often prefers such humility. It meets it with a response that is not showy. It is steady and kind. If shame arises, bring it into the light of the small lamp. Do not let it fester in secret places. Shame loves darkness. Grace invites daylight. The act of naming shame in a single phrase deflates its power. Place the phrase on a palm. Feel the heat of the lamp. Notice how the edges soften. That softening is mercy at work. I invite a tiny act of trust before sleep. Place a hand on the chest if that feels right. Breathe slowly. Whisper one short sentence in the mind. Grace is enough. Do not argue with the thought. Let it rest. Repeat it for 5 breaths. With each cycle, imagine the chest receiving a small presence that steadies the rhythm. This presence does not always come as comfort at first. Sometimes it arrives as a small patience that keeps vigil while the heart learns. The presence tolerates the messy, the unfinished, the unpolished. It stays when the mind wants to run. It sings a simple line to the weary you are held. In weakness, there is also an honest courage. The courage is not heroic noise. It is the quiet decision to be seen as one is. It is the act of handing a burden to someone believed to be kind. That faith is small but potent. It reshapes the night. Do not confuse sufficiency with elimination. Grace offers enough to continue. It does not necessarily remove every trial. Rather, it gives what is needed to bear the trial with a softer step. Picture a lamp that does not banish the storm, but makes the reading of a book possible while the rain falls. The lamp's light is sufficient for the immediate need. There is a slow beauty in the idea that power rests in weakness. The paradox comforts rather than confounds. When human strength fails, a gentler strength becomes visible. That strength does not shame the failing. It fills it. Weakness becomes the place where tender power takes up residence. If sleep is not immediate, stay with the breath. Breathe in the phrase grace. Breathe out the phrase tension. Let the cadence soothe muscular memory. With each cycle, feel the body accept a little more stillness. Let the mind watch the breath as a loyal friend. I plotea soft benediction now. May the grace you need find the cracks and make them luminous. May weakness cease to be a private prison and become a room where healing comes in small measures. May the quiet power that arises in fragile places keep vigil over your night. rest into the company of this steady, gentle love. Let its sufficiency hold you. Let the small acts of trust become a habit that changes how the heart wakes. The lamp is low. The room keeps its hush. Sleep comes as a slow tide. Receive it. Breathe grace in. Breathe tension out. I will return in the next part. We will sit with another gentle line. The night will keep its patience. For now, let the promise that grace is sufficient rest where it may. Good night for now. I come in slow tonight. The lamp is soft. The room smells faintly of linen. My voice stays low. I read the Bible before sleep. I read so the words can sit like a warm hand on the chest. Settle where the body finds ease. Let the breath find a gentle pace. In through the nose. Hold briefly. Out through the mouth. Do this without hurry. Let the rhythm become the room's pulse. I hold a short line from Scripture and shape it for listening. I will not recite words exactly. I offer the sense God's peace reaches the places fear cannot steady. It does not argue with the trouble. It quietly keeps watch. Hear that as a calm fact, not a task. This peace is not loud. It does not demand proof. It is like a steady bench in a garden. You can sit. The world may not stop. The bench does not require anything from you, but the willingness to sit. Grace strengthens that bench. Grace supports the weight without complaint. Imagine now a small lake at dawn. Mist lifts in slow veils. A single rowboat moves soundlessly. The oars hang still. The water holds the boat. The sky keeps its cool breath. In the boat, a light shawl covers tired shoulders. That shawl is peace. It does not fix the weather. It makes the body less tense about it. I read another gentle paraphrase from the Bible. The line says something like this: when trouble comes, a sure presence is near. That presence acts like a companion who steadies the hand and hands a cup when the steps are unsure. Let that be a private picture. Let it breathe into the places that tighten. Now a short practice with the breath. Close the eyes if that feels right. Place one hand over the chest or on the belly. Inhale slowly and think the single word peace. Hold one small count. Exhale and think the single word rest. Repeat 5 times. Let each inhale fill like a small vessel. Let each exhale lower the shoulders a notch. Bring to mind a single concern. Keep it small and specific. Name it in a short phrase in the mind. Do not make a list. One item only. Hold it like a seed on the palm. Notice its texture there. Notice any heat it gives off. I invite you to place that seed in an imagined basket. The basket sits at the edge of the lake. It feels steady. Set the seed in the basket and tie the lid with a slow ribbon. The movement is deliberate and kind. The act is small but true. When the lid closes, feel the shoulders shift as if some weight has moved. Grace is like the basket's handle. It does not take the seed from the chest by force. It simply accepts it and will carry it when the time comes. That carrying is help. It is not a magic erasure. It is steady support. It holds while the heart learns a new way to rest. There are times when fear comes as a small scrape on the mind. It wants attention. Give it a brief look, a brief name. Then turn again to the breath. This gentle refusal is not ignoring. It is choosing a calmer habit. Habits change slowly. Let that be all tonight, a tiny change. Repeated. I speak of renewal. Renewal is not a sudden replacement. It is a quiet growth beneath the soil. The winter branch does not shout when it buds. It softens and opens in its season. The peace that renews you warms slowly. It finds the broken places and makes them fit for life again. Without haste or condemnation, grace helps in practical ways. It offers patience when decisions must be made. It steadies hands for small repairs. It lends courage when a step forward is small and tentative. Imagine hands beneath yours, not taking control, but making each movement steadier. That is how grace supports through trials. I read another paraphrase from the Bible. It suggests that a quiet mind is guarded. The guarding is not a tough shield. It is a calm presence, a keeper of thresholds. When the mind rests in that guarded room, renewal can do its work. Sleep comes more kindly. Waking feels less like a battle and more like a continued breath. If worry begins to gather like a small flock at the gate of the mind, invite them one by one into a small shed. Name each worry briefly and place it inside. Close the door. The shed is secure for now. You do not have to manage the flock tonight. The tending can resume in daylight if needed. For now, allow your hands to fall and the breath to lengthen. I suggest a minute of silence now. Let the room's quiet gather. In that silence, imagine warmth moving through the chest like a gentle tide. Do not push the silence. Let it come. Allow it to be a space where mercy breathes softly. Mercy works quietly. It repeats. It returns. It steadies like a steady drum. Grace often shows its strength in small faithfulness. A friend who is worn trusts the same small practices night after night. A lamp is left on near the bed. A prayer is uttered without urgency. A breath is repeated. These tiny reliances are scaffolding. They rise gradually and hold the weight without show. Consider a small ritual you can keep. It might be a single sentence whispered in the mind, "Peace surrounds me." It might be a posture, hands folded loosely over the middle, the jaw relaxed. It might be a tiny act before sleep, such as setting one small stone on the windowsill and saying a single line of thanks for the day's smallest good. These acts train the nervous system to accept calm. If the mind protests that this is too small to matter, allow the doubt to sit in the room like a quiet guest. Do not argue with it. Offer it a cup of kindness. Habits of peace are not built by shaming the mind. They grow when gentleness is steady and persistent. Grace also gives courage to face hard things. Strength does not always show as firmness. Sometimes it is the capacity to keep going, to return to the breath, to sit with sorrow without being swallowed by it. Strength can be the soft persistence to place one more small stone on the shelf and to trust someone else to hold the rest. I read one more Bible line slowly. Shaped for the ear. The sense of it is this rest is given to the weary and refreshment to the worn. Receive this as an offer, not a challenge. Let it land with no performance asked. Let the words be a soft hand that smooths the high places in the chest. Now, a final breathing practice. Breathe in slowly and think the phrase, I am held. Hold a gentle count. Breathe out and think the phrase, I am safe. Repeat 7 times. Keep the cadence slow. Let each repeat be a small bell that rings and fades. Do not force calm. Let each ring invite it. Picture a candle by the bedside. The flame is steady and small. The light does not glare. It simply keeps a circle warm. Place your named concern in that circle of light. Watch the light. Touch it. The light does not obscure the trouble. It simply changes how it looks for a while. In the changed view, the chest can soften. Renewal does not require that the night be perfect. It only asks that the heart be kept in a gentle economy of care. Grace fills the gaps where human strength falls short. It is quiet. It is practical. It meets small failures and large doubts alike with the same steady kindness. If sleep arrives, accept it without guilt. If the eyes remain open, return to the breathing practice. Revisit the lake, the boat, the small lamp. These images are tools, not tests. Use them gently. Come back to them often. Their repetition teaches the body to settle. I close with a brief benediction. May peace fold gently over the neck like a soft scarf. May grace make bridges where the road feels broken. May renewal come in small measures until the morning light arrives. The Bible is closed now. Tenderly, I place it aside as the lamp leans towards sleep. Stay a while in the hush. If that helps, I remain here in the quiet. The lamp keeps a small circle of light. The room breathes with a calm rhythm. When morning comes, the same presence will greet the day. For now, let the peace that strengthens and supports rest where it will. Good night for now. I sit with the book open and the lamp low. The room keeps its hush. I breathe slow and listen to the small sounds. The pages rest in my hands like something alive and patient. Tonight, I bring a short line that asks the ear for quiet. I shape it so it will sit gently inside the chest. The thought I read is simple. Incense, a peace that comes from God, moves through places where words cannot quite do their work. It is a calm that does not depend on solving every problem. It is a kind of guarding. The peace watches the heart and the mind. It does not argue with the questions. It rests with them. Hear that idea now as a gentle fact, not a test. I ask you to breathe with me. In, out, slow and steady. Let each inhale bring the thought peace. Let each exhale lay down one small worry. Keep the breaths even. Do not hurry. Imagine the breath like a small tide moving in and out. It does not force the ocean. It simply moves with it. This peace I speak of is not a clever answer. It is not a tidy solution. It is more like a careful presence that stands at the gate. Picture a low stone arch. The arch is old and kind. A gate light sits above it. The light does not flash. It simply glows. Through the arch, thoughts may come and go. A gentle guard keeps watch. The guard does not chase the wind. The guard notices each thought and lets it pass or stay where it belongs. When worry arrives, it often comes in small, loud fragments. A single thought loops around the head. It wants attention. Tonight, imagine that thought approaching the arch. The guard greets it with a soft nod. The guard places a hand on the thought, like one might fold a small cloth. The hand is steady. It does not push. It does not shame. It simply arranges the thought and sets it on a shelf. Think of a shelf lined with soft cloths. Each cloth holds a concern. The cloths are identified by color. A faint blue cloth holds a fear about tomorrow. A pale green cloth holds a regret. A warm grey cloth holds a tiredness that will not go. The guard takes each cloth and lays it where it will not tear or fray. Nothing is thrown away. Nothing is hidden in darkness. Everything is held where light can touch it. Say the word peace in your mind now as you breathe in. Hold it there softly. On the exhale, say the single word guard. Inhale peace. Exhale guard. Repeat 5 times. Let the rhythm be slow. Let the words be small and kind. With each cycle, the chest loosens a fraction. The shoulders find a softer place. The text I read reminds me that this peace moves beyond what reason can sort out. It does not mean we will never worry again. It means something watches the worry in a way that calms its power. The guard is not a rule maker. It is a keeper. It does not measure your rightness. It measures your need for rest and responds kindly. A way to practice this tonight is to imagine a small room inside your head. The walls of the room are made of soft, warm stone. In the center sits a low table. On the table, place a single, small object that represents the main thing on your mind. Keep it small. Do not gather all things at once. Choose the one that is most present. Put it on the table and set a small lantern beside it. Now picture the guard entering the room. The guard sits quietly across the table. The guard looks at the object without urgency. The guard does not rush to fix it. The guard simply keeps watch. That watching itself changes how the object sits. It feels less likely to leap from the table and pace the floor. The room becomes a space where the object can be seen without being an accusation. I will guide the breath with a brief count. Breathe in for 4. Hold gently for 2. Breathe out for 6. Let the long exhale be soft. With each exhale, imagine the guard smoothing the edge of the object. The smoother edge is not ignoring. It is a new shape that allows you to sleep without the object banging at the door of your mind. If a thought presses hard, do not fight it. Name it in one short phrase. Keep it simple. Put that phrase on the small object on the table. Give it a color. Then imagine the guard wrapping the object in a thin cloth and placing it on the shelf by the lantern. Close the small door of the room with kindness. The guard turns the key in a way that is gentle and sure. The object is not lost. It is held. This image helps because peace in Scripture is not a merely passive quiet. It is an active keeping. The Greek sense is like a sentry who both calms and protects. The sentry does not create turmoil to prove strength. The sentry watches so that the weary can rest. Rest is the fruit of that careful guard. Let me tell a small scene. A week ago, a friend sat with me on the porch. Her eyes were rimmed with tiredness. She could not sleep because her mind sprinted to lists and fears. I suggested she name the one thing that was loudest and to place it in the picture of the room. She did. She made the single object small and honest. Then we counted breaths together. The breathing did not chase the fear away. It moved it to a place where the sleep could find room. The next morning she told me the night had been quieter. That is not a proof of cure. It is a practice that made room. Be gentle with yourself when you try this. Do not expect a sudden miracle. Peace that guards is patient. It knows some nights will still be restless. It keeps the lamp on anyway. It accepts that healing requires time. The guard returns each night. The routine matters more than a single success. There is also a tender paradox here. When I admit I cannot hold everything, the guard steps in. Admitting weakness opens space for the gift of guarding. The gift is not a transaction. It is a relationship. It is a gift given whether I feel deserving or not. The giving hand does not demand qualifications. It asks only for the small courage to place the object on the table and to breathe. Try a short private blessing now. Place one palm over the heart, if that feels right. Breathe in the word receive. Breathe out the word release. Repeat 3 times. With each breath, imagine the guard smiling in a soft way. Its smile is not celebratory. It is steady. It speaks of company in the night. Do not let perfection be your preview for rest. Peace does not ask you to have a flawless mind. It asks only that you be honest enough to bring what you carry. The guard does the rest. In its humble way, it does not banish every question. It teaches the heart that questions can rest. 2. I like to picture the guard as someone who moves slowly through your thoughts each evening. The figure is not stern. The figure is calm. With a lantern and a small satchel, it opens the satchel, takes out a soft cloth, and lays it under each thought so that the thought can stop, rubbing the skin raw. The action is quiet and repeated over time. The rubbing becomes less likely to injure. There is a gentle discipline to this. It repeats itself. Each night the guard walks the same path. The repetition is not rigid. It is the formation of a habit that tells the nervous system it may relax. The lamp by the bedside becomes a sign. When the lamp is on, the guard is near. When the lamp is off, the habit still helps, because the memory of the steady light remains. If doubt rises, if the mind wonders whether this piece can really hold, name the doubt briefly. Then reach for the image of the guard and imagine the lantern's glow expanding. Doubt does not disappear. It sits on its own cloth now. It is less demanding. The breathing practice I gave you will help the nervous system accept that change. I read again, softly for the ear. The sense of the verse, the peace of God stands guard, like a sentinel, beyond the reach of anxious counting. It keeps hearts and minds safe. It is a gift that comes when worries are laid down. Receive that in the posture of a tired child hearing a lullaby. Do not debate it. Let it be something to try tonight. Before we close this part, I offer a short exercise to carry into sleep. Choose one soft object in your mind. Make it small. place it on the low table in the inner room. Call the guard. Breathe in peace. Hold, breathe out and release. Do this 7 times. With each breath, imagine the lantern's light growing wider until the whole room feels contained in the glow. When you are ready, let the image rest. Allow your eyelids to fall, if they will. If sleep comes, let it be welcomed without a long performance. If it lingers, return to the breath and the guard. Come back to the small room. Place another pebble on the shelf if needed. The guard will be there. I leave you with a quiet benediction. May the peace that is beyond your understanding stand watch for your heart tonight. May your mind find room to set down its burdens. May the gift of guarding come gently and stay. The lamp is low now. The guard moves quietly through the thought rooms. Rest as you can. I will come again to read and to keep this calm with you. Good night for now. Come in slow. The room holds a small circle of light. Breath moves with a soft rhythm. I set the book on my knee and settle the night between the pages and the lamp. The hour is quiet enough to hear the slow thing that lives beneath breath and thought. That quiet makes room. Tonight I tell a simple story. It is a small journey toward rest. It moves through plain things. It asks nothing of learning or proving. It wants only that the body and the mind be given a softer place to land. The tale is not clever. It keeps a steady pace. There is a path, I know in the story. The path is lined with low stones and grass that bends toward light. It runs from a noisy town to a field where the air tastes like early apples. I find my feet on that path. Each step is slow. The tasks of the day fall farther behind, like small shells left at the waterline. No list is carried. A single light bag swings at the side. The field opens to a cottage with a wide porch. The roof sits low. A willow shades the doorway and breathes its long leaves. Inside, things are plain. A table with a cup. A chair made soft by use. A quilt folded at the foot of a narrow bed. The cottage is old in a kind way. The kind of age that keeps nothing flashy. It keeps warmth. Before I sit, I read a short line from the Bible. I do not recite it exactly. I let the sense come through a welcome for the tired, an invitation to lay burdens down and to learn new rest. Saying it in the small voice of the room gives the words weight that is gentle. They are not commands. They are an open hand. The hand in the story is not a dramatic rescue. It is simple. It steadies without striving. Imagine a small palm placed on a shoulder in the soft dark. The palm does not push or judge. It simply rests there. That rest is the form of God's love in the tale. There is no thunder. There is only holding. I take off my shoes. People who have walked far know the relief of bare feet. The floorboards are cool. A kettle hums in the corner. Steam arises like a hush. The bird outside the window keeps time with the breath. I pour a cup of mild tea and hold it like a promise. The warmth goes through the fingers and into the chest. Simplicity fills the moments. A slice of bread, toasted until the edges soften. A small bowl for the crumbs. A candle trimmed so its flame does not shout. Each action is plain and steady. The small tasks teach a new rhythm. Doing nothing heroic does not mean nothing matters. Small acts become holy by how tenderly they are done. In the story, the heart is a little tired. Old scuffles with worry sit like stones in a pocket. I recommend one thing in the telling. Choose one small stone tonight. Make it the most honest one. Name it in your mind with a single, clear sentence. No running the film. No rehearsing the speech. Just name it, and let the name be brief. I speak the Bible again. Softly. The line I read here offers rest that is given, not earned. The offering is not a lecture. It is a quiet presence that draws near and keeps light by the bedside. Hearing this makes the small ritual feel allowed. The burden is not shamed. It is simply placed into the story's hands. Now the ritual in the tale. The named stone goes into a little cotton pouch. The pouch is clean and light. A ribbon ties it shut. I carry it to the windowsill, where the willow can look at it. Then I set the pouch on a small wooden boat that waits in the window box. The boat is tiny. It need not be pretty. It holds the pouch without fuss. A finger touches the ribbon. The boat drifts in a slow, imagined tide. The boat is not a trick to make trouble vanish. It is a way to move the weight. Watching it go changes the body. The shoulders drop a fraction. The jaw unclenches by a breath. The chest breathes with a softer cadence. This is the first form of rest in the story, the act of transfer. The burden stays real. Its grip loosens. There is a steady presence beside the window as the little vessel glides. That presence is like a low, patient voice that gallops nowhere. Instead, it keeps watch. It does not demand perfection. It watches with the same constancy given by a caregiver who does not sleep, because love keeps a late hour. The watchfulness changes the meaning of being alone, sitting in the chair, tea cooling in hand. I hum a single line from the Bible aloud. The paraphrase is simple. A gentle teacher will show a softer way to carry life. Hear those words as if they are a slow hand smoothing a crumpled cloth. The teacher is patient. The lesson is practiced in tiny acts. No sudden transformation is expected. The learning happens one breath at a time. The night outside the cottage is wide and not frightening. Stars kind themselves in steady places. A soft wind passes and the willow leaves make a small, continuous sound. The sound is not alarming. It is like a slow metronome. It matches the breath. The body finds a rhythm to rest with the beat. Here the story pauses for a simple breathing practice. Breathe in through the nose quietly and think the word ease. Hold a calm count. Breathe out through the mouth and think the word let go. Repeat 4 times. Let each cycle slow the pulse. The practice is small. It is enough. In the tale, the keeper of the cottage moves without hurry. There is no long talk. A small kindness arrives, a warm cloth folded across the hands, a soft blanket laid on the lap. Mercy in the story looks domestic. It is a meal, a guayalite, a foot kept near a cold one. Each kindness is a small instrument of grace. Grace in this telling does not lecture. It offers. I notice how nature in the field helps rest. A stream runs near the cottage. Its water is not wild. It murmurs as it travels. Stones in the stream are worn smooth by long patience. The sound of that water helps the mind to do what it needs, to stop sprinting across old scenes and to hold a single, gentler thought. Nature's slow work is a teacher in the narrative. The tale follows simple repairs. A chair leg gets a tiny shave. A patch is sewn on a sleeve by a careful hand. Repair is not dramatic. It is a small, consistent mending. The act of mending itself brings a kind of quiet salvation. The story invites the listener to imagine a small task like this. Let fingers do a soft, steady thing, while the mind learns to fall in a different rhythm. There is also an image of a cradled night. The cottage has a small alcove where a child once slept. The blanket is still folded in the drawer. The image is an invitation. Allow the night to hold you as gently. The night is not a judge. It is a place where the heart can lean into a safer weight. As the story reaches its close, I read one more soft line from Scripture. It speaks of a love that is steady and quietly strong. It is the kind of love that invites sleep. It does not demand proofs or lists. It keeps a light and the assurance of company. I let the words rest on the table between the pages and the lamp. They sit there, like a companion. Now a final small practice before the story ends. Place a hand on the chest or over the belly, if that feels right. Breathe in the thought of warmth. Breathe out the thought of worry. Picture the warmth moving like slow honey, filling the margin where fear had edged in. Hold the breath a soft moment. Release. Repeat 3 times. Allow the body to follow what the mind shows. The cottage is not an escape that erases trouble. It is a shelter that honors the trouble while refusing its demand to be central. Problems still exist. They are not minimized. The story simply teaches another posture toward them. The posture is receiving to let a stronger presence carry what must be carried with gentle hands. As I close the book in the tale, the boat with its small pouch rides on a slow current. The willow keeps watch. The cottage keeps its quiet. A small lamp is left by the bedside. The lamp does not promise ease for every tomorrow. It promises a faithful presence tonight. The promise is enough for sleep. I fold the Bible shut now and place it gently on the table. My voice lowers further. The room leans in. The breath softens into a more intimate pace. A brief benediction follows the story. May the simple things be enough to steady tonight. May the small rituals of letting go teach the body new habits of trust. May a steady love, quiet and present, keep watch by the bed. If eyes are heavy, let them close. If sleep comes slowly, return to the single breath practice. The path in the story will wait. The cottage's light will not be hurried away. The willow will remain patient. I will come back with another small piece in the next part. We will read again and sit with a few more quiet practices. For now, rest. The night is wide, but tended. The simple journey ends at a small place of calm. Good night for now. I sit with the lamp low. The room keeps its hush. Breath moves steady. I take the Bible into my hands and open it gently. Tonight, I read a small passage that lives like a quiet well. I do not recite words exactly. I tell the sense in a calm voice so the ear can rest. The psalm, I read pictures a shepherd at dusk. The shepherd knows each sheep by name. He guides them to soft grass. He leads them beside still waters. The water shines without hurry. It reflects the sky. It gives the flock what they need: measured drink, cool rest, a place to breathe. I say this in the first person so it sits close. I say it as if the shepherd walks with me. He leads me to green places. He makes my feet find gentler paths. He settles my inside. He restores what wears thin. In that telling, soul repair is not a sudden fixing. It is a returning. It is a mending that comes by being led. The shepherd keeps watch. He knows where shadow lies. He walks before me on narrow tracks. He guides without forcing. His hand is near when the way turns sharp. He does not shame my slow steps. He simply points to the path that steadies the feet. That pointing feels like a soft compass. It shows the way without loud instruction. The still waters matter for this quiet. They are calm, not chaotic. Water that stops and listens does something to the heart. It slows the breath. It cools the place that burns from worry. When I picture those waters, my chest lets go a fraction. The hands unclench. The mind quiets its rehearsal of the day. Restoration of the soul is tender. It looks like a slow folding of broken edges. It is not a sudden erasure. It is a careful reweaving. The shepherd tends where the wool is thin. He tucks in stray threads. He does not demand proof before he cares. He simply tends. The tending makes sleep deeper. I read the line about paths. The shepherd leads in ways that are right for the road. The paths are not always smooth. They are safe enough for the walk. The shepherd knows the bends. He keeps the light near the feet, so the walker can trust the next step. Guidance like this removes the need to worry about the whole journey. It asks only for the next small step. In the quiet, I speak of comfort. The psalm has a picture of a staff or a rod. That image is not harsh. It is protective. It steers the wandering. It keeps the sheep from stumbling into danger. I let that picture be something like a steady hand at my back. The hand does not push. It steadies. I pause often when I read. The pauses are part of the reading. They let the meaning settle. They let the picture sink into the skin. Between the phrases I sit with silence. Silence here is not empty. It receives the small impressions like raindrops on a leaf. I invite you to breathe with the image. Inhale slowly and imagine cool water at your feet. Hold for a small count. Exhale and let the muscle around the jaw relax. Repeat 3 times. With each cycle picture, the shepherd drawing the path ahead. Let the envisioning be minimal. Keep the details soft. Now bring to mind one small worry. Do not gather a list. Choose one thing. Name it in a short phrase inside the mind. Make it precise and brief. Picture that worry as a pebble in the palm. Feel its weight. Notice its edges. Then imagine placing that pebble beside the still water. See the shepherd taking a gentle hand and placing it in a small boat. Watch the boat glide away. The act is simple. It changes how the weight feels. The pebble remains real. It is not erased. It is moved. The moving invites rest. The shoulders loosen. The chest expands a little. The sleep that comes is not forced. It arrives as a natural settling. I speak also of provision. The shepherd does not only prevent harm, he provides food, water, shade. That provision is not earned by a show of merit. It is given. The coming of such care into a tired life feels like a bell that rings softly in the rib cage. It announces that the night will be tended. I tell a small story of someone I know. They walked in with heavy hands and a face worn from trying. They sat under the image of the shepherd. They laid their puzzle of worries by the water. They did not expect sudden triumph. They expected a companionable hand, or a team. Nights grew less sharp. The steady hand had changed the way the day left traces. Mercy sits in that picture beside the water. It is the act of not listing faults before tending a wound. Mercy is quiet. It repeats. It does not boast. It comes with small, faithful acts. A lamp left on. A word breathed. A hand warmed. These acts do the slow work of repair. I keep my voice low as I move from the psalm to a short practice. Place a hand over the heart if that feels right. Breathe in gently. Think the word lead. Breathe out softly and think the word rest. Repeat 5 times. With each breath, feel the shepherd's hand that guides not by force but by steady care. Before I close this part, I remind you of one simple fact. You are not alone along the narrow paths. The one who leads is near. The water waits. The rest is offered, not earned. Let that thought be a small cushion for the night. Now I bring the reading toward its close. I lower my voice even more. The lamp throws the same comforting circle of light. The harbour image from earlier comes back, boats at rest. Ropes tied. Oars stowed. The shepherd's presence is part of that harbour. He visits each boat. He knows each name. He keeps the light for those who sleep. I offer a gentle benediction for this part. May the hand that leads keep you near still waters. May your soul find little restorations through the night. May the guidance that shows the next step be steady and calm. Receive that without performance. Allow it to rest in you. A short pause follows the blessing. Let the silence hold the words. Let them sink. Now I speak the closing part. The hour grows later. The lamp's light is softer. My voice moves close to a whisper. I fold the Bible gently and place it aside. I wish to leave you in a calm posture. The end of the night needs an ending that is intentional and gentle. I remind you of what we have done together. We slowed. We named small things. We pictured still waters. A harbour. A watchman. A shepherd. We practiced small acts of handing over. We let mercy arrive in little, steady ways. These are not clever tricks. They are simple habits that change the shape of sleeplessness. Before I send you into sleep, I offer a final quiet practice. Lie or sit where you are most comfortable. Make one minor adjustment. Let the neck relax. Let the hands find a place to rest. Breathe slow, and even think of 3 words that feel calming. Keep them short. Maybe the words are soft, steady, quiet. Maybe different words come to you. Make them your small refrain. Breathe in and think the first word. Hold for a gentle count. Breathe out and let the second word arrive. On the next breath, think the third word. Repeat this cycle 9 times. Let the words be anchors, not arguments. Let them breathe you toward rest. Now, take the pebble practice once more. Name one thing you will not fix tonight. Keep it small. Picture the pebble in your palm. Place it on the boat. Watch the rope tug. Imagine the shepherd's hand steadying the line. Feel the shoulders drop. Do not rush. Stay with the image as long as you need. If sleep comes, lead it. If it lingers, remain with the breath and the lamp. Return to the 3 words. Return to the pebble and the boat. These small returns matter more than a single attempt. I will come again. The lamp will be lit. The Bible will be open. We will sit and read another short piece. We will breathe. We will practice small ways to let mercy move. You may come back as often as you wish. This is a place set for the tired. Before I finish, I speak a short blessing in the quiet. May the shepherd walk with you into the night. May still waters cool your sleep. May your soul be given gentle repair. May mercy meet your edges and make room for rest. May the lamp beside the bed keep its faithful glow. May grace find the cracks and make them luminous. I close now with a slow inhale. Hold for a gentle count. Exhale fully and feel the night fold around you like a soft blanket. If you wake, you will find the same hand nearby. If morning comes, you will meet the day with a slightly steadier step. Good night for now. I stay here in the hush until you are safely into sleep. When you return, I will read again. For now, let the water be still. Let the shepherd lead. Let the rest be enough. I come close to the lamp one last time. The glow is mild. The room breathes with a steady hush. I fold the day into the shape it needs to be. My voice stays low. I read to you before you sleep. The book rests like a warm stone in my hands. Settle where you are. Let the body find a place to be still. Make one small adjustment if you need to. Release the jaw. Soften the shoulders. If it helps, place a hand over the heart. Breathe slowly. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Let each breath teach the ribs to move easier. Tonight, I will not teach a lesson. I will read and I will stay. I will sit with images that calm. I will offer simple practices to fold the mind toward rest. The goal is mercy for the restless. The aim is a gentle steadiness for the worn. Listen as I paraphrase a line from the scriptures in a quiet tone. Hear it as if a lamp leans toward your ear. The thought says I rest because a faithful care keeps a light near my bed. The presence guides the steps and guards the night. That care does not shout. It simply watches. Let that be a small truth you hold. I invite one gentle practice now. Pick a single thing to set down. Make it small. A pebble worry. A single regret. A brief frustration. Name it once in the mind with a clear, soft sentence. Keep the phrase short. Place the named thing into a small pouch in your imagination. Tie its ribbon. Feel the knot take the weight. Walk the pouch to the inner harbour you know. The harbour sits calm and wide. Boats rest there. The water holds them. Lay the pouch in a tiny boat. Notice the light on the water. Someone else, gentle hands that do not need applause, takes the line. The boat moves slowly towards the center. Watch it go without chasing it. Let the shoulders follow the motion and loosen. Breathe with that image. Inhale the word receive. Exhale the word release. Inhale, receive. Exhale, release. Repeat 5 slow times. Do not hurry the breath. Let each cycle teach the chest a softer pace. There is comfort in small, repeated acts. I have seen people change by practicing one tiny movement each night. They do not become untroubled in a single hour. They become trained to lay burdens down rather than carry them into every quiet moment. The practice itself becomes mercy. Bring to mind now a lamp beside a narrow bed. The light is low. A watchman walks slowly near the window. He does not pace or fret. He hums a small tune like a cradle song. That tune steadies the house. The watchman knows the names of every boat and every pebble in the harbour. He does not demand answers. He keeps the vigil without hurry. Let this image be a quiet companion. If fear drifts up like mist, notice it. Name it in one brief phrase. This is my fear, for now. Do not argue with it. Do not try to fix it. Place it on the windowsill in the inner room. Let the lamp touch it. Let the light change how fierce it looks. The naming reduces the sharpness. The light keeps watch. Sometimes rest arrives as a small permission. Tonight I offer that permission aloud. You do not need to carry everything. You may set one thing down. You may trust another to help. The trust is not a quick test. It is a tiny practice of handing over. Ignite, udoit. The habit grows. Think now of a shepherd in the dim fields. The shepherd knows each step ahead of the flock. He guides without force. His presence is like a soft hand at the small of the back. I say this line slowly. I follow the steady one and find the path that eases my feet. Hold that sentence for 3 breaths. Let the idea rest on the heart. Allow images of gentleness to come rain against a roof that keeps a slow rhythm, a kettle cooling on a counter, hands tilting a cup so it warms the palms. These small domestic moments are not trivial. They are the ordinary language of mercy. Let them speak into the places where worry likes to sit. If sleep has not yet come, try a tiny movement of the hands. Place them loosely in the lap. Let the fingers rest as if holding nothing at all. Feel the weight of the arms ease onto the bones. The hands can be a barometer for the rest of the body. When they release, other places follow. A simple story might help. Once, a person I know carried a long, thin regret, like a thread wrapped around the heart. He learned to cut one loop each night. The cutting was a small, deliberate thought. I will not run this film tonight. He tied the cut thread and placed it in the harbour boat. The habit did not remove the past. It changed how often the past ran the show. Over time, nights grew wider. Forgiveness lives in such small acts. It is not a sudden erasure. It is a series of tiny changes in how the mind handles memory. Name one small wrong you keep turning. Make a brief sentence. Put it in the pouch. Let it float. Tell yourself you will address what must be addressed in the day that comes. For tonight, let the harbor hold it. I read another gentle paraphrase for you now. The sense is, this mercy tends to the weary without tallying the cost. Mercy sits with the brokenness. And it does not demand a report card. Hear that as a small kindness you may carry into the dark. Let the breathing lengthen again. In through the nose for 4. Hold for 2. Out through the mouth for 6. With each long exhale, imagine the lamp's glow widening around the boat. The water receives the light and reflects the sky. The motion calms the inner tide. If a hard thought claws for attention, place it gently on the table in the inner room. Give it a color and a shape. Close the lid. Imagine the guard steady, kind arranging the object on a shelf where it will not fray. The act of shelving does not pretend the matter is gone. It simply keeps it from running the night. There is a tenderness in being seen as you are. Sometimes the most radical mercy is that another presence knows the exact shape of your tiredness and does not flinch. The knowledge changes the load. You may be small and still be received. That is a truth that softens the chest. I will read one short line slowly again. Shaped for listening. Its sense rest is a gift. It is not performance. Receive it as such. Let the idea sink without argument. Allow the body to accept the gift. If you want a final step, place your hands on the heart. Now, breathe in the word peace. Breathe out the word fear. Repeat 7 times. Let the breath make a small rhythm that the nervous system can learn. If sleep takes you somewhere in these cycles, go there without a thought of earning it. Sleep is part of the mercy. I stay with you in the hush. My voice grows softer. The lamp leans into the dark. The harbor keeps its slow motion. Boats rest and oars are stowed. The shepherd keeps to paths that do not demand haste. The watchman keeps his gentle tune. Before I close, I give a deliberate benediction. Receive it as I place it beside your bedside like a small, warm blanket. May you find tonight a sleep that restores. May the night repair what has worn thin. May mercy meet every small fear and lay it in a safe place. May the presence that watches keep a lamp lit beside you. May God's love surround you like a steady hand. Carry that peace into the darkness. Let it sit by your shoulder as you sleep. Let it be the first thing you feel when the morning arrives. When you wake, may your breath come easier. May the day ask only for the next small step. May you rise with a heart steadied by rest and hands ready for gentle work. For now, close your eyes if it helps. Let the harbor hold the boats. Let the lamp watch. Let the shepherd guide the steps. Sleep now. Be refreshed in the morning. Good night.